After you're done using your airbrush, it's time to clean it. This includes the removal of the needle to check for dried pigment. Discard any paint left in the brush. Flush and backflush the airbrush by plugging and unplugging the tip with your finger. Put brush under water to minimize overspray. Do this 10 to 20 times. Using a cleaning brush, wipe away any pigment that is left in the cup. Then do another rinse. You can also use airbrush cleaning pot to prevent overspray in the air. The next step is to use airbrush cleaner. Put a few drops in the cup. Move the lever back and forth without pushing the air. Let the airbrush cleaner do its thing by eating away at stubborn pigments still stuck in the airbrush cavity. If needed, you can leave the cleaner in the airbrush overnight. Spray out the airbrush cleaner. Note, you should never scratch, scrub, pick, or dig anything out of the airbrush. It may ultimately damage the inside of the airbrush. Let the cleaner do its job by loosening the paint first. With a little cleaner still left in the cup, do one last wipe with your cleaning brush, then rinse. If you clean your airbrush like this every time, you may never have to fully disassemble it. In the event your airbrush requires a deep cleaning, this may involve disassembly of the airbrush and the cleaning of individual parts. Abrasive action is harmful to the integrity of the components of the airbrush and may require that you purchase new parts or a new brush completely. Now let's disassemble the airbrush. I always start from the back to the front and place them down as I go. Unscrew the handle. Loosen the needle chucking nut. Ease the needle out. It should have paint on it, so give it a couple wipes. Be careful, the needle is sharp. Remove the needle chucking nut and set aside. Unscrew the needle spring guide and remove the spring. There's an O-ring that prevents paint from seeping to the back part of the airbrush, so a lot of the time you won't have to clean these parts. Some airbrushes will have an auxiliary lever connected to the spring guide like ours. Remove and set aside, then remove the trigger. Now go ahead and remove the needle cap. Remove the nozzle cap. Next is a little fluid nozzle. Most of the time your problem is in the needle or in this fluid nozzle. Remove the fluid nozzle with your fingers. You may need to use the provided spanner wrench to loosen it. With the airbrush disassembled, use cleaning brushes to clean the head assembly of the airbrush, then rinse. Next, we're going to clean the fluid nozzle, as paint can dry inside of this. Use the needle not as a scraping or picking tool, but just kind of wiggle the needle around in there just to loosen up the paint. Next, we'll clean the nozzle cap. Using our brushes, just clean it out, making sure there's no pigment buildup. Same process with our needle cap. As you airbrush, paint and air are mixed in the airbrush, which causes atomization. Paint naturally wants to build up within the needle cap. Now those parts are clean, it's time for reassembly. Start with your fluid nozzle. If needed, you may use your spanner wrench, but do not over tighten. Screw on the nozzle cap, followed by the needle cap. Next is the trigger. It goes straight down into this little hole. Next is the needle guide with a little head on the top like this. Insert it into the airbrush. Put the spring over it. Screw on the spring guide. Tighten all the way. Then give it 1/2 turn loose. Attach the needle chucking nut and very gently insert the needle. You don't want to ram it in with too much force. Tighten the chucking nut. Put your handle back on. Test the spray pattern, and your airbrush is clean as new. To purchase any Master Airbrushes, airbrush products, or any US Art Supply colors or cleaners, visit us at tcpglobal.com.